Hello and welcome to. Damn it, my freaking. Okay. Hello and welcome to the Phantom Works animation tips. So, I am just now getting started into this whole animation stuff. And I've been playing with the animation for a while. Excuse your boy for enjoying a Jolly Rancher while he's making this. So, I'm going to give you a couple of tips that I learned that may help you get started with your animation. And not so much start with your animation, but it'll give you a couple of tips if you're kind of navigating around the program. So, everybody get your animation stuff up. We're going to draw a bouncing ball. That's probably the first thing you should probably practice with. And I'm going to give you a couple of tips on how to kind of use the program. So, first you go to New, and you see you have 5 different things. You might have 5 if you have Pro, but you should have this either way. The regular or the Pro, you should still have this. What you're going to do, you could use the custom, you can use these little whatever things if you want it bigger. I usually just use the custom so I can put my own dimensions on there. Now, story name, this is basically what it's, well, I think it's self-explanatory there. And you just put as much stories as you're going to be working on. So what it does, you could either put one story on there because you're just doing one animation, or you could do like 2 or 3. And what it's going to do is kind of explode into 3 different kind of layers and stuff. And then you can choose which one you want to work on. So if you're working on one animation, you can work on that, and then whenever you get kind of tired of working on one thing the whole time, you can move on to your second one, just for people who are really good with like multitasking and stuff. Timeline, so that's kind of self-explanatory right here. You know, it's timeline name. So what you end up doing, you just put like what you want your timeline name to be on there. It's going to be that little tab right here. It's going to show kind of, so we're just going to put like Phantom Balls. Because, yeah, I mean, you guys came here to see some balls. And then the frame rate. Frame rate is basically going to be this little bad boy down here. Not there. It's going to be the... Okay, it's better to think of it as frame rate per second. So it's good. Every second it's going to show 30 frames. So, you know, you're basically dividing the number of how many animation cells, which I'll go over that in a little bit. You're dividing how many animation cells you have by 60, so 30 by 60, you're basically getting like in half a second you're getting one scene and stuff, so that's that. Playback time. I forgot what that is. I think that's just how many animation cells you have. But yeah, we'll check that. It says 120, right? So we'll look at it. Starting from frame 1. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. Oh, this lesson's going great. So I'm not really going to name it. I'm just going to put that thing on here. So let's check. See, look, 120, that means how many frame rates you have. So first thing I think I'll show you is... usually when you're doing animation, you want to kind of, you want to have as much frames as you can have. You want to have as much frames as you can, you know, get going on there. But here I'm just gonna draw a little line. Just draw a nice little kind of plain little platform for the ball to just kind of bounce on. So you just do a straight line, and what I'm doing here, this is where the shadow is basically going to be of the ball. So what you want to do, we want 10, right? We want 10 new cell animations. The cells, blah, 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 blah. So we want to move that. We want to move this little thing. You'll see this little blue rectangle thing. That is how many times it's going to go over and over. So you can move over here. As you can see, Just boom, it's running through that. And unless you're prepared to make 100 and semi freaking whatever is, which you should be prepared to do if you're doing any type of animation shit, which I'm just not prepared to do yet because I'm still practicing. What you want to do is move that way over here. So 7, 6. I am counting horribly. 9, 10 right here. So that's 10 right there. 10 cells. And now as you can see, if you press play again, right here at the bottom, now it's just going to cycle through those. But at the same time, what you're doing, that you're just making sure the timeline for whatever you're doing here only plays that much right there. And that's also going to tell you what you want to do as far as whenever you export it, and then you want to make a GIF out of it, or you want to make an animated movie or stuff like that. So right here, what I did right here, oh shit, I'm not explaining shit. So what I did here, I basically clicked on the paper, so I'm out of the animation folder, because the animation folder is completely separate from your maybe a sketch or something or anything like that. Oh yeah, so here's whenever that walking thing, then you put under there, that's that thing. So, paper. That's when I hit the new layer, new roster layer. And then that gave me a little tiny background to be able to play with. Now, whenever I click on this, it helps for you to name the folders. I'm just not going to do that. But, yeah. This is the first cell. So right now what I'm clicking on is the first cell. So what we may want to start out, we're going to just do a basic bouncing ball up and down and stuff. So here, this is going to be our first frame. Isn't that a perfect circle? Alright, so that's our first frame, right? But as you can see, if I click roster layer, it goes invisible, and it won't let me click on it, it won't let me do anything, it won't let me move, so I can't start my next layer. So normally that's what you would do if you're just doing an illustration or sketching. But on Clip Studio Animation, what you have to do is, here's your first layer, right? Well, you're going to actually go to this button over here that says New Animation Cell. And then you're going to click that, and that's going to give you a new layer to draw on. That is part of this timeline that we'll be able to draw. Oh, and make sure, hold on. Make sure whenever you do it, whenever you make that new layer, you click on here. You click this, whenever this glows red, that's where you're putting the new cell animation. See, if I put it over here, the new cell animation for 2 is going to be way over there. So whenever I play it, it's completely way too far from it. Oh wait, here. Better example. You'll see it's way too far from it. Now, that could work with you or against you, because you can actually just, if you want a little bit of space in between cells on an animation, you could just put that there, just put that space in between there. But that lets you pick and choose on the timeline where you want to go on there. So I always thought that was cool. But anyways, let's get back to it. So, I'm not going to do anything special like that for this bouncing ball. I'm just going to put them next to each other completely. So we're going to do what we just did. New animation cell. And right over here, now you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this 5th part right here. What you want to do is click Enable Onion Skin. And if you look, you could see a previous image of the cell below this one. So now you can actually draw over that to kind of get the same dimensions, and you can move it down. So now it looks like it's just moving down and down and down and down. Now, how this works with some of your animations that you may want to make, like if you're doing faces or something like that, something really detailed to where it's not like on average the same kind of proportions and stuff, you can draw the face in a different position, maybe hit it on free transform like this. If you want to make it go in a little bit. Boom. And this works if you want to make a face go like that, or you want to make it go over here, or it's running, or it's just boom, just dynamic. You want to, boop. You want to keep the same face details and stuff, but you need to put it in a different position. That is the way to do it. Now, as far as this ball goes, what I'm doing is, here, we're going to do another cell animation here. So what I'm doing with the ball, I'm starting with it in a regular form, but then as it goes down, it's getting a little bit skinnier because of the kinetic energy moving down on it. So it shows that it's kind of a rubber ball. It's not really a solid. Now, after a while, you can actually just draw the form yourself since it's kind of distorted already. But if you're not comfortable with that and you're just trying to, you know, get a little bit of the practice in, just keep using free transform, and it should help you out. Just make sure you get the right thing. So here I am. I'm just doing the same. At this point, I think that's as much as that ball's gonna bend. So now I'm just making sure I get it down to that bottom. So you just keep on going. Keep on trucking. So now you can easily just make it move. And at some point, I'm just doing this for the sake of the tutorial, but I mean, you can kind of freehand it, the rest of it, because of how distorted it ends up becoming. Oops. Let's go back. Alright, let's hit that new animation. Alright. So now we're getting back to one more. To some learning. Alright. So as soon as this ball hits, what you want to do is it's going to start changing form from whenever it hits another solid ground. So like this, ball smacks the floor. Your boy Phantom Works fucks up on the cell animation again. Okay, here we go. And now since it's a rubber ball, this is a little bit dramatic of a push, but at the same time, it's good practice to see how far you can push. Man. So make sure if you need more set layers, you push that thing back and then you just make some more. It's a good practice to see how far. Oh gosh, we good? Yep, we good. How far you can push the sandwich, the delicious sandwich. That's how far you can push the sandwich. How I love a sandwich. Now it just looks like flubber. This has become from a ball to just flubber. Okay. Next. And now we're just gonna do one of it going back up. So if it's going back up, you'll see the blob kind of shooting up more. It's starting to take off the ground. You're seeing the kinetic energy kind of flowing back up there. So everything, whew, all right. So everything from the top, so like all the way up here, whenever we started up here, this is potential energy. Everything all the way till it hits here, potential energy. Now the kinetic energy is right here at the bottom whenever it goes boom, whenever it hits. So boom, it hits right back up there. So anything pushing up against gravity itself is the kinetic energy. So that's how much kinetic energy reflected back off of there. So kind of science lesson, but not. All right, so next we're just showing how it's still kind of getting back into its form as it loses more energy inside the ball itself. Son of a bitch. As it's losing more energy of the ball inside itself, it's gonna start retaining its form back. It's gonna retain its form back to when it had potential energy to work with, basically. Let's put a couple more layers. This is supposed to be 10 layers, but you know, there's that. Yeah, at this point, you know, you can't go wrong with the ball as far as the dimensions. So. And I've kind of drawn it enough times to get the same shape out of it here. Now you don't want to go too high because it'll never have the same potential energy. It won't go up with the same kinetic energy as much as it had potential energy previously. So let me one more up here. So you never want to push it up too high. So probably next to the last technique I'm going to show you. If you guys end up wanting more of these, I'll make it more detailed and not so blah, but I wanted to put something out there for it. So there should be a little marker that has like a little 3D whatever thing, and it has a little mouse just like here. This is like the layer selection, so you already know what that does. Edit timeline. So what you can do here, instead of, there's two ways you can play back your animation to check on it. One, you could do this, so you can move the edit timeline. What I'm doing is just moving my mouse to the right so it shows the animation, and then moving it back to the left to go backwards so you can kind of see a flow. But if you want to see your animation, how it's going to run without any type of you know, manual movement by yourself doing it, then you could just hit play right here. And right there, 30 frames per second, so you see how fast it's going to be end up going. So you want to make sure you know how much frames you're going to be using per second and how you're going to be doing your movie, because you may end up with something like this and you see how fast it is. There's no flow as far as it, so you know, you want to make sure your frame rate is pretty decent, and you can just stop it from there. Now I'll keep playing with this and see what other tips I can find, but as far as what I know, I mean, you got to go into edit and stuff to fix your frames per second. I'm pretty sure it's probably in canvas properties. Let me see. Yeah. I mean, until I figure that out, your best bet is to make sure you have the right frame per second before you start that, because you may end up with something like that and it'll be too quick. So, but yeah, I wanted to show you guys a quick tip on how you can get your animations kind of started. I'm still working with the program just like y'all, so I mean, I'll post whatever I find out and any neat tricks I find out about animation. I also have a lot of animation books, so look forward to me doing some reviews on that. I have Kill la Kill animation keyframes, so I have all the keyframes on there. I have Attack on Titan. I have Byakuga or whatever. So yeah, I mean, I'll do some tutorials on that and how they kind of do their thing. But for now, I just want to do something simple that's really easy for me. I just did a bouncing ball. Not a lot of people know, you know, some of those starting things. If I remember to do so, I'll probably find a nice little webpage where it gives you some exercises for starters, just like I'm doing. I did some brick spalling, some people moving and stuff, so we can all kind of learn together and see how far I can take this, you know what I'm saying? So, alright, this is your boy Phantom Works. He did his thing, he's doing his thing, and you guys take care. Oh yeah, and if you like those funny videos that I have on my channel, you should leave a like or comment and subscribe and tell me if you like those, and I'll make some more. But take care, guys. Just wanted to give you a little hint.